I don't understand that there is any one Ambazonian who thinks rightfully and can submit a proper argument from a sociological, historical, or legal context, or even from a human perspective approach, that we, Ambazonians, counting the last 62 years, can say with honesty and objectivity, hate Amber or like Amber, that we should have anything to do with Cameroon.
Okay. That is a very interesting question. This is a recent video Cho Ayaba made. We are going to have Chris Anu come into the conversation. We are also going to have other interesting guests. Kwame Mukong is going to be an interesting conversation, right? Because we have different ideas as to the way forward. Because it's like we are in a gridlock right now. The Cameroonians who speak English are stuck. It's like they're in a gridlock. So we need to break this wall and be able to make progress. So there are multiple reasons why you, as an Anglophone, should stay in Cameroon. Number one, safety. You are not truly safe among Anglophones. And this is the reason. We have a history of infighting. We have a history of internal conflict. Most Anglophones have never gone along with each other. And you will see that in this video. From the time of Mona and Foncha, they never got along. That is facts, history. And it's the same story with you, Chris Anu, and Sako today. It is not safe. Within Northwest, there are multiple tribes. We have a history of inter-tribal wars. Even within this conflict, some have used this as an opportunity to settle scores. So safety is number one for every human being. After you're able to put food in your stomach, the next thing you should prioritize is safety. If you've studied the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, some go by that theory, you will understand that once you have food in your stomach, have a place to lay your head, you need to be safe. In order for an Anglophone to be safe, you need to stay in Cameroon. Integration. I just want to say the reason why Bamenda City exists is because of this strategy at the regional level. If you look at other villages within Northwest, most people choose to stay in their own village or stay in their own corner. Anglophones III, the leader of Mukong, opened up that city for other tribes to come in. There was a time he was even asked a question. Oh, why do you allow those people to name this place Meta Quarters? Why should they come name their village within your own village? And he said, in as much as they are not doing that in the borders, if they're doing it in the middle of my own village, I don't care. Let them come in and let us build together. That strategy is called integration. Allowing everyone to come in and welcome everyone who comes in. He said even the Maquisards should come over. He welcomed them. That strategy is called integration. If you've gone to Our Lady of Lourdes, if you've gone to Sacred Heart, all of those beautiful schools, Progressive College, all of those beautiful schools within Northwest or within Bamenda, within Mukong, they exist because of the collective effort of those who live in Northwest. And that happened because of leadership. We underestimate that. And we've just recently seen that, right? They brought a foreign coach to Cameroon, right? Cameroonians are attesting today that they've had one of the best games for the past 2 years. integration. That is why you should stay in Cameroon. If you want to be safe, stay in Cameroon. Why? Because when people are tense and fighting each other the way we do, right, we need a mediator. We need strangers in our midst to solve that problem. And Anglophones was not stupid. His leadership was legendary. He was the most educated and the most wealthy fund in Northwest. And his strategy worked. If we want that to happen at the national level, we need integration. I hope that answers your question. Let's keep watching.
The Germans came, insisted on having us, defeated, they took us, handed over to the British. As the British were leaving, the French thought, no, this is our time. Your time to do what? This is the story of Ambazonia. Preparing a place.
Okay, so regarding that, I want to make another comment, right? It is very important that we underscore the very fact that today we are able to articulate in English and associate with the world with this language because of colonization. Because we never take the time to ask yourself the question or ask ourselves the question, what did we benefit even from colonization? Imagine 250 ethnic groups in Cameroon. Today, which language would you be communicating with today? Are you going to be communicating in Mukong? Are you going to be communicating in Batibo, the Batibo language? Are you going to be communicating in the Menanque language? What language would you be communicating with today if not for colonization and the English that you speak? You see, we never take back the time. That is why we are encouraged to look at the good in every bad situation. Whatever you label as bad, there is some good in it. The legacy you're fighting to preserve today that has led to thousands of young people losing their lives, both young and old, is the legacy of a colonial master, the British heritage. You do not agree with the British, and yet you're fighting your fellow black brother to preserve a legacy that you adopted from a colonial master, Britain. That is the reality. And I want our young people to keep their heads up and listen to what I'm saying, because if you will make progress, you need to learn to think for yourself. If you are thinking from an echo chamber, life is going to be tough for you, because every decision that you will make will be based on the opinions coming out of that echo chamber. The way I speak and articulate and think and process what I'm saying is because I'm out of an echo chamber. I'm looking at where we are right now, and I'm looking at the world right now and where the world is going in the next 100, 200 years, and every decision that I'm making is based on reality and the future. When people are thinking from 1961, they can only make decisions based on their understanding of what happened in 1961. And that is the world they live in today. Let's keep watching. There's a lot to digest out of this video. There's a lot. So just stay glued to your screen. We are going somewhere. Let's keep watching.
For ourselves and to bequeath it to our children. Otherwise, we will weep. You have maximum 15 years before you start crying on the streets of Europe or the United States. I told you the last time, Dr. Yombang is buried in exile. Justice Ebong is buried in exile. Ambassador Henry Fosson will surely die and be buried in exile. We don't know where Dr. Ngumia was buried. We think that this thing is far-fetched. So our struggle is for justice. Our struggle is for...
Before we address the issue of justice, I want to talk about the exile situation he just mentioned. Most of the individuals who spearheaded this movement from inception were on exile. Most of you joined the train never understanding their motive. You thought it was just liberation. You're going to find out what they are really fighting for. You joined without understanding this dynamics. So I want you to pay attention. Now, most Anglophones and the diaspora have joined the train of individuals who were on exile. That is why they want as much people as they can to join their train. Misery always loves company. These are individuals that if they fail in life, they won't learn from their mistakes, make adjustments, and help others not to walk in their tracks. But what they will do is make sure that they have as many people like them. It's like the individual who caught AIDS and they say, I will not die alone. I want to infect as many people as possible. You can feel it in their tone. You can feel it the way they speak. They try to hide it, but it comes out. You can tell that this individual wants many victims on their path as much as they can. And now they are using it against you. To let you know that this died in exile, this died in exile. You have 15 years, so you're under pressure to contribute towards their cause. That they don't have a clear deadline. They don't have a clear objective. They started saying Eritrea, South Sudan. I came here and I debunked all those broke backward nations that made the same mistakes that they are leading us into. Now they switched and started saying Norway and Spain. I'm watching them because they are watching me. And so if you guys are listening and paying attention to what I'm saying here, you will be free. No matter how far you've gone into this struggle, there is always room to change and turn to the right direction. That is what metanoia means. Change of direction. Now they are using it to threaten you that you have 15 years. You will weep. You die in exile. Who cares? And they use this to subjugate you just like they've done to subjugate the rest of English-speaking Cameroonians. Right? Who cares? How about the Amber boys that have died and nobody knows where their graves are? How about them? How about the millions of Germans that died in the First World War and the Second World War? What about them? How about the British who moved over to America and said, hey, we want to go create a new nation? What happened to their grandparents and their great-grandparents that they never went back to see their graves? What happened to the slaves that even left Africa and some died in the Middle Passage? What about their graves? And they use all of this. Who cares? Why should it matter? Let's do the right thing. Let's do the right thing. That is what is important. It's not about your grave. It's not about the land. It's not about some resources. It's about doing the right thing and leaving this war a little bit better than you made it. That your time on earth, you poured light on someone. That is what is really important. But let's keep watching.
Our land, the only place within which our culture, our way of life.
Then let me talk a little bit about the issue of justice as we make progress. When you say you're seeking justice, because I've heard this a lot. When we are looking at a problem, it is very, very important that we identify the root cause of that problem. The root cause is colonization. The root cause is marginalization. The root cause is exploitation based on your assumptions. Let's diagnose that root cause. The Germans came over, then the British. So those are the individuals that planted the pillar for colonization. Most of you live in this nation. Some of you live in the UK. Some of you live in Germany. Some of you live in France. Let's talk about UK and Germany. That is the nation that colonized you and left you to France, right? Why don't you mobilize yourselves, buy ammunition, and attack those nations where you find yourself? Because that is the place that you should seek justice. Don't just march, buy guns, just like you are encouraging the young people to buy guns to go fight the French government in Cameroon, go fight the Cameroon government. Buy guns and go fight Britain. Because most of you, it's a stone throw. You live in there. You have a lot of Cameroonians in there who are pro-Ambazonians. Buy guns and fight those people. That is the root cause of the problem. That is where you should start seeking justice. You know why you won't do that? Because if you try that, you know you'll be crushed really fast. And so you look for someone that you think you can measure strength with. And then you go attack them. And you say that is who you're seeking justice from. Right? Let's cut off all this hypocrisy. That is the root cause. That is the nation that sold you. That's the nation that colonized you. That is the nation you felt did you wrong. And you live there. Mobilize yourselves, buy guns, and attack the government of that nation. Just like you're doing in Cameroon. They are right inside your neighborhood. That government is right there. You won't do that, right? Cowards. You want justice. A flight of less than $200, you find yourself in UK. It's further than Cameroon, and you start addressing, attack, mobilize your armies and go over there. You guys are, many of you out here, put yourselves together, buy guns and go try the UK government and make sure that you get justice from them. That's a good place to start. See, people, we have to think. You see why I talk like this? Because I think. I'm thinking. Like they say justice. They just throw it. Like, okay, who started all of this? Can we go find them? Right? Can we go meet them and attack them? Let's do that. Let's start there. If you feel France is the problem, go meet France, attack France. Some of you live here in Europe, go over there, buy guns and go attack France. Try it.
Cannot only be protected but perpetuated, so that the children born after us, now and 100 years from now, will live in that land on a foundation of the truth, its true history, its true value, its merit, and will bequeath more or same to the next generation. What?
So you see, all of this small talk, and they sit around and this find a way to make sense out of this kind of conversation. Young people, Cameroonians that think that wants the best for themselves and for that nation. It's time for you to reason. It's time for you to use your brain. These people don't care about the next generation. How can the next generation don't have the opportunity to go to school right now? You've deprived them of education, the most precious gift that you can give a child. And you've conditioned them to think that the objective of going to school was so they end up with a job. And so because they do not have a job, the government is to be blamed. When you're sending a child to school, you're not looking into what they are going to study, if there will be a job market for that degree. You don't care about that. We don't have any career counselors back home to look at the skills of a child, look at what the market needs, and train that child based on the demands of the market. We cannot need houses and need roads, and you go study history. Doesn't make sense. And then you come out, you want the government to employ you. Are we going to eat history? Are we going to eat literature? Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? When you come out of school, school is designed to make you think, right? They don't understand the reason why they go to school. You are talking right now because you went to school. You don't have employment right now, but you are talking, right? You can articulate and express yourself. If you feel like you've been dealt the wrong hand, is because you can study and understand what went wrong, right? Can you give other children that same opportunity to study so they can be able to think? That is how we prepare the next generation. It's not by leaving something to them, it is by leaving something in them. We got it all wrong. We travel to this country, study, sit in these classrooms, come out, they classify us as a third world nation because the information that we sat in that classroom and got with the same students from different backgrounds, they came out and they called them first world. You came out, the way you're thinking, they classify you as a third world. And you have a problem with that. Are you guys understanding? For someone to live in this dispensation in the 21st century and do not understand that separation is not the norm right now. 1961 independence, everybody wanted that. Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana and all that. They don't grasp the idea that in this dispensation, the world is coming together. That is why you have a social media platform that can connect you with the rest of the world. Even technology, you're not studying, you're not looking, you're not observing what is happening. Right? And because of that, you have the 1961 mindset and you go around spreading ideas like this. And you think you're really smart, using all of this sophisticated rhetoric to manipulate and subjugate your own people. Your own people. This is evil. I'm telling you guys, this is evil on a whole different level. And this can only come from an enemy within, claiming to be a savior. But the real devil that will manipulate you and ruin your destiny will be someone close to you. The person who destroyed Jesus' mission was an enemy inside. And they flip these words around and make someone who is saying people shouldn't die to be the enemy. I don't understand how rational this is. Let's keep watching.
Why should anyone but for them? Tell me one reason on earth why you want to be a Cameroonian. One. I just need one reason why you want to be a Cameroonian.
You see, you are a Cameroonian. That is the passport, that is the identity that you present wherever you go around the world. A Cameroonian, even you, if you have not had a Norwegian citizenship, you present a Cameroonian national ID or a Cameroon passport. You are. You don't need to want to, you are. And again, I'm repeating this for emphasis. Ambazonia is a group within the Anglophone zone in Cameroon. Ambazonia is not a nation. Yet, you have an idea that is terrible and nobody wants it. No nation in the world wants to associate with it, right? Even your own people, they are fed up. They don't want it. You've held them hostage. It's an idea and it's a group. You are a Cameroonian. This is the kind of rhetoric. because they've crafted some stories that they really believe in, and they're very aggressive about it, and they go about talking because they feel like, oh, we got some boys on the ground with guns, and so we think we have a nation. If we have an army, we have a nation. And if you're a young person on the ground, especially from Bamenda, taking instructions from this guy, you're jeopardizing your own future and the future of your people. He does not have a clue of what he's saying. I'm telling you, he doesn't have a clue about what he's saying. When you hear people who are delusional, articulating, using sophisticated rhetoric, and just go around rambling, what is the point? You can't even hear what they're saying, and they just go around and around and around, and you can't even hear them. They don't even hear themselves. They don't even listen to what they are even saying. I doubt if they understand what they are saying, if they understand the dispensation where we find ourselves and where the world is going. Because that is how every human being in the 21st century should live and make decisions. The world you find yourself in and the projected future, not the past.
What is special about us that every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to occupy us? If we are useless, so bad, so poor, what is it in our land and in our people that interests these colonial masters? When any of us dies.
Okay. That's an interesting, like, what do they want from you? It's a good question to ask, right? Like, why are they coming over? Why did they colonize you? And why all of this, right? It's a good question to ask. And I want to answer that because it might sound rhetorical, but there is an explanation to that kind of a statement. And I want to make it clear. We live in a world where we benefit from everyone. But when it comes to us, we want our stuff to be just for us, right? That's the kind of thinking that I see is very prevalent, even in Africa. But the YouTube, the Facebook that you see was created by someone and you are using it. I want to ask a question. If the resources that was used to provide this platform, if some of it came from Cameroon and they wanted you to contribute that as your own way to support this app that you're using, are you going to give that, or you will name these individuals oppressors, colonizers, or those who want to extort your minerals? It is very clear that whatever is given to you, if you do not make use of it, if you do not know how to use it, others will take it away from you. And that is including leading you. People who don't think for themselves will be led. And that is why you did not have your independence. Why? Because as you guys are fighting, they're like, okay, these guys, they don't get their act together. They need someone to govern them, or they will join a French-speaking Cameroonians so that they can be led. And individuals like this will never see that. We are right. They did us wrong. We justify our actions. There's no fault on our part. Everything has been right with us except the war and all of these colonial masters. And again, I want to say, whatever gifts and talent has been given to you, if you do not use it, they will take it away from you. And Jesus made that statement, that even the little that you have will be taken away from you. So when people are coming to take away from you what you have, you should understand that you are not making use of it. And whatever you have, the world needs it. You did not come into this world with anything, and you will go with nothing. When you claim a territory, be productive within that territory and make use of the resources. Some of you cannot even exploit the resources that you're claiming you have. Someone told you about the value of those resources. You don't even know. They tell you how much that resource costs. This is how ignorant we are, and we have to get to the place where we are humble to learn. Let's keep listening.
All of us carry ourselves. We go there, we watch you. After that, we don't even know where your body is carried to. And we forget. No place of self-preservation. No memory. No place where your grandkids could go and say, this is where dad lies. This is where mom is. And pray and get the blessings from the spirit. That is why people fight. Meme and Dian.
You see what I'm saying? This is something that is prevalent with primitive cultures, right? You can hear the language. They might say they have this degree, but you can feel in their rhetoric that primitive instincts, right? Gotta go pray to the dead. They have some kind of belief systems that they think applies in the world that we see today. And if you think that praying to your dead parent has an impact on your life, or your ancestral worship has significance, how come? And this is a question we should all ask. Cameroonians ask these questions. How come that our gods were so powerful, our ancestors were watching, and then we went into slavery and slave trade, and they did not protect us? How come? These are questions I ask. I ask these questions. How come is it that we went into colonization and our ancestors did not protect us? And some of them cooperated and led us into colonization. How is it? Right? These are very fundamental questions that we should probe and ask. How is it that these ancestors that we have been praying to allow a community where you can be poisoned just because you had an American visa? That you had a visa to go to the nation that they claim that what they believe is better than the nation you're going to, but yet they will poison you if you have access to go to that nation. We got to think. How come? Why our gods? Why are they doing this to us? Are they there? Are they powerful? Are they strong? Is there even a God in Africa or in Cameroon that protects us? That we want to keep worshiping them?
Are two of the richest states in Ambazonia. I think it's the GDC who cited this data also. 70% of the cocoa exported by Cameroon comes from Meme. Indian is so rich that only the oil deposit in one block, selling a barrel of oil at $100, the amount of money we will get, you can share that money to 8 million Ambazonians. Each Ambazonian will have $2,500.
Are you seeing the kind of mindset? Listen to the language of poor people with poor management skills with little idea about development. Listen to their language. We take it, we sell it, and distribute the money, and you have $2,500. Really? Really? Are you guys listening? How can we refine it? That is somebody who is thinking about development. How can we refine it in Cameroon? How can we serve our people with that oil? Right? Yes. How can we preserve some for the next generation? Let's sell it all and we can have the money distributed among ourselves. Are you guys understanding the motivation of this fighting? It's about the oil and how they can have access to it. I was doing a research on nation building. The tutor said something very powerful. He said those who always criticize the government for being corrupt or criticize certain members in society for being corrupt is because they are the ones not benefiting from what they are labeling as corruption. If they were benefiting from what they label as corruption, it is not corruption. Even within this struggle, some of you are benefited financially. You do not label that as corruption.
One block. In Bakassi, a simple block has 250 million barrels of proven reserves of crude oil. Take a pen and a piece of paper. Note the next one. 208 billion. Did you hear that? 208 billion cubic yards of natural gas in Bakassi. According to Per-Toa Resources, an estimated 1.2 billion barrels of oil are still available in the Rio de Rey.
Are you understanding the reason why they are fighting? It's not for any independence. It's not to have control over their land. It's because of the resources in their land. That is the substratum of this war. They want to have control over those resources. And I have a question for you who is fighting on the ground. In what nation have you seen that individuals like this take over and then they sell the oil and distribute the money among the citizens? Which nation have you seen that happening? And some of you watching, financing, giving in your money, you think that somehow if they achieve their objectives, they are going to give you some of the money. This is the trap that you find yourself in. Greed. Let's inspire our people to work hard. Human resource is the most valuable resource. Let's look at people. And that is why I'm advocating that we come together and build our nation. Empower the private sector. All this government talk, all this resources talk will take you nowhere. You will waste your life and waste the lives of the next generation. Or let's sit on the table and talk. Talk about what? About 1961?
That's how stupidly rich Indian is. And stupidly.
And I want to let you know, Congo is one of the most richest nations in Africa in terms of resources. But do you see what is happening over there? When you pick up an oil fight, because that's why you should understand their motivation. Don't just say, oh, we are fighting because I went and applied for a job and I didn't get it. That is why we are fighting. No, there is a motivation. There is a motivation as to why they are fighting. You get what I'm saying? Libya, that was rich in resources. Where's Libya today? The same people that Gaddafi took care of turned around and fought him and destroyed everything that he built. That is what happens when people don't work for themselves and build their nation. And they hope that somehow a leader emerges and work for them and they just fold their arms and enjoy. They closed a factory in the 60s. You never built any again till today. They shut down your banks. You never erected new ones till today. You're complaining about something that was closed down 60 plus years ago. Yet you've been able to put money together and fund a war. And you never thought about putting money together to build another bank. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? In the beginning, it was the factories that are closed. Now they've sparked up a fight. Now it's about the people that they killed and they raped. They will always have new stories to tell to keep you in this loop. These individuals don't get tired. I'm telling you, they are having fun. They're having a good time. In as much as the money is coming in, they are having a good time. Their motivation is oil. And if they manage to take over that territory, of which is an illusion, if they manage to do that, you all will get nothing out of it. These are the people that want to benefit out of that. And somehow they entice you into thinking that if they take over and they sell it, they're going to give you some. None is coming to you. That is why you got to jump on the train, learn some skills, and be able to produce and build your own economy. Learn negotiation skills. If you are living in Cameroon and things are not working, we've never had classes just to teach our people how to negotiate, how to sell your own idea, even to an enemy that you presume is an enemy. How do you sell a good idea that can help everyone move forward? This is the time that we start training our young people to learn how to interact with society, because that's what happens with us. Even in the diaspora, we end up getting jobs. We cannot start businesses and negotiate and run successful businesses. It is not Cameroon, right? If it was Cameroon, that is the problem. In the diaspora, we should have more Cameroonians running businesses. We don't have that. Why? Because we don't learn negotiating skills. We have low self-esteem. We go out there and we think all we have to do is get a job, clock in, and get a paycheck at the end of the month. That is our story. To change that paradigm, it needs work. We have to understand. First step, we have a problem here. We don't know how to do business like other nations are doing, like the Chinese are doing, like the Americans are doing, like the Russians are doing. They negotiate for themselves when they step in. That is why most of the Chinese come in here, they start a business. We come in here, we look for a job. This is our history.
Which Ambazonia is. That is just a small part of it. Clean drinking water. You don't have Indian.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the blame everything. The government ought to do that. We have no responsibility. And again, I lay emphasis on the issue of integration. Integration is the key word, because that is a word I have seen growing up. And Anglophones used that strategy to open up his village for the rest of the Northwest people. And we are able to come in there, do business, go to school because of that strategy. America works today because of integration. There is no specific corner designed for black people in this country. Even after going through slavery and slave trade for 400 plus years in this country, there is no specific area for the black people. It works. And where you see predominantly black community, they are not that affluent. They are not that rich. But when they integrate, you can find them prospering. Just like the Anglophones that have moved to Douala and Yaoundé, their story today is evident. And this is what your own people, so-called leaders, have prevented you from for the past 64 years. If you live in Douala or Yaoundé, wherever you find yourself in the Francophone zone, you can tell right now about the prosperity that you have experienced for the past 7 to 8 years. Imagine if we had more Anglophones moving into the Francophone zone, integrating with the nation, and how Francophones come over to the Anglophone zones, because this is the system and we check each other out. We have come out of slavery, slave trade, colonization. A lot has happened to us. Staying in our own corner is not wise. It's not wise. It is not healthy. And you will find out right now. Take a watch at this panel and just listen to this conversation. And then you will understand why the strategy that I'm proposing is the only way to preserve the Anglophones. You might be smart, you might be intelligent, you have some PhDs or degrees behind your name. It doesn't mean you can run a business or run a country. That is why most of the A and the B students always work for the C's, because it takes different kind of skills to run a company. That's why most of the graduates work for Guarantee, who's not as educated as them. These intellectuals that we have in our community think for some reason that they've developed some skills based on how they articulate, so they can run a country, they can run a business. You do not have what it takes. I can hear the language of a poor person that cannot lead themselves and will definitely ruin the lives of others. I can hear from their language, their words. From their words, you will know them. They've said everything that you need to know if you're smart enough to listen and understand if they are taking you anywhere. They don't have a clue about what they are doing, but yet they have opinion. Guys, listen, it's not about you saying the Anglophones have been treated fairly in Cameroon. No. But if you would take us to a place worse than where we find ourselves, leave us alone. And I'm saying this especially to Cho Ayaba, leave the people of Bamenda alone. You were raised in the Southwest, you go there to all those places you've mentioned where oil is and give all those commands over there, not in Bamenda. Let this nonsense stop in Bamenda. And if you're a son or a daughter from Bamenda and you're taking instructions from this, I'm just letting you know you're jeopardizing your own life and the future of your people. Just lay down the plans and listen to them speak. Except you're a thief and you're just going out there robbing people and stealing money. But if you think you're going after a just cause, and I'm saying there's no just cause and there's no fruitful place where these individuals are taking you to. They just want to add as many victims on their side so that they will use that to intimidate you, to keep you subjugated. But I'm saying high time is coming. You guys will not stay in those hideouts in the diaspora forever. You will not stay in there forever. Yeah, you might be running your mouth on social media and terrorizing and I said, go fight the British government. Get up, put yourselves together, go fight the British government. That is where you should start seeking for justice. Go fight the British government. Go there, go fight them. You live among them. They are the root cause of all your problems in this life. Then how come you desire to come live in their midst and then you're feeling this way and then you don't attack them and you feel like you're a warrior? You are a warrior. If you've escaped from Cameroon and you think you cannot fight in Cameroon, at least you are right where the enemy that started all of this lives. Go fight them.
My diplomatic exercise takes us to Buea.
Okay.
How that Buea will be determined by the response of Yaoundé with the push for federation this time. I'm not telling any people.
Comrade Chris, there again you have a problem, which is the problem that our people have faced for the past 63 years with La République du Cameroon. You cannot, after all this bloodshed, ask Yaoundé to decide what our people want. I think that then we are running around in circles, because then I think that for this discussion to progress, we need to look for a way out, because our people have to decide what they want. It is not for Yaoundé to decide. Otherwise, we shouldn't be fighting. Then we just pack our things, tell Yaoundé we are sorry that we tried to resist you before. Then take us, do what you want to do with us. Because the Yaoundé we know will never give us a federation.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I want to say about that is Dr. Kwame Mukong, he came up with an idea. He's pushing for federation. And the response from the panel is that we cannot proceed with all this bloodshed. And Yaoundé won't give us a federation. And I want to say, we do not need federation. Federation is the worst idea right now for the Anglophones. Yes, federation is a terrible idea, which indicates we will stay in our own corner. Again, we have boys on the ground with guns. They are cartels right now. There are people with guns on the ground, right? And there is no way to completely take the guns off their hands. And federation means they will live among us. And if they live among you and they're from your tribe or from your village, guess what? It's easy for them to attack you. And if they attack you, you won't say a word. But with integration, and we have somebody from the Francophone zone living in that community, we have to build B camps, at least 2 or 3 B camps in Batibo to solve some of those problems. And why? Because when you have the Francophones among your midst, and one of those boys who have guns right now do something wrong, it is easy to address that problem because a Francophone will be able to say, this young man came here and did this. If you say federation, we will stay among ourselves, terrorize ourselves, our community will be in pain. But guess what? If we have Francophones living in the Anglophone zone, because integration is what dissolves all of this gun game. Do you get it? This is well researched. It is hard to have that kind of level of crime continuously right here in America because it is perfectly integrated. You might hear about federalism in America, but it's an integrated federalism. The state is well integrated. I mean, like well integrated. There's almost no state in America that you go to without seeing a black man. And there's no state in America that you go to without seeing a white man. That is how America is integrated, and federation happens within that integrated system. So for you to think of an idea like federation, we need maybe the next 50 years to integrate properly before we even think of federation. Why? Because now we'll be not just be having Anglophones in their own corner saying they want federation. It will be the Anglophones and the Francophones that live in this part of the country that will live in that federated state or in that federated region. And that will save even you, the Anglophones. That will save you. Because once the system is properly integrated, some of those boys will decide to even drop their guns because they know if they do something crazy, guess what? This Francophone man in this community will not let it go. And vice versa with the Anglophones living in the Francophone zone. Something is going wrong there. The Francophone brother is trying to cover up another Francophone brother. The Anglophone brother will not put up with that for long. That integrated system is what we need at this stage. If we started pushing for federation, it would have been a good idea. But with the gun game right now, with people being kidnapped for ransom, now they want people to change the colors of their taxis. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and we don't know where this is leading us to. It's escalating on a daily basis. And I'm connecting with the people on the ground, and most of them do not want this anymore. But these individuals, if they open their mouth, they will be killed. They'll be targeted. They'll be labeled blackleg. Everyone is a blackleg. You don't discuss with people like this. You don't. I'm just saying this to help our fellow Cameroonians understand before I get to the path forward. In a state like this, what you do is you start thinking for yourself and possibly find yourself in a safe place. You don't go with group thinking in a state like this. You tune out of group thinking. Look at your nation and look at what you want for your life. Outline that. If you want to leave, you want your children to have a future, you want to be able to build a house for yourself, you don't go with a group that has continuously manipulated the people, have an agenda. Their words is all about oil. They have no developmental plan. They have nothing to offer you but just big grammar. And people who use a lot of grammar is because they know little. And so the only way that they can persuade you to think that they know is by using that grammar. That is why they go to school. They come out there, they are just full with all the jargons that they have digested, that they've stored in their memory, and they keep using it, but they cannot be creative with it. I just listened to Ayaba talk about what they will do with the oil. They will sell it and they will distribute the money. And that's the kind of thinking. Even if it's an example, let's hear some creative thinking. Because that is what you promised the boys. You promise them that you sell the oil and give. That's why some of them go to fight, thinking that you give them something. You will die, you lose your life, and you're gone. If you're following individuals like this, they have no clue about what they're doing. They cannot run anything, right? Have they run a successful business before? Did they tell you they've run a business before? I don't think so. Because the words is like no jobs after college. So they don't think business wise. You can feel it.
Comrade Chris, if you go to in Ukraine, a few people came up that people are dying too much. They should try and compromise in the Donbass for Russia to take part of it. They were just swiftly arrested. When you are in a war of independence, it's not a war to gather many people. You've taken a path. You cannot be in a war of independence and be in an intermarriage with somebody who's talking about federation with the person you are fighting to get independence from. You don't marriage, it doesn't work. In law, they say equity and law, they flow in the same channels, but their waters never mix. The waters of federation and independence, they do not mix. Even if we are flowing in the same channel, he should understand that. He should not think that he is coming to sell federation to us. Let him go and sell federation to La République du Cameroon. I keep repeating. La République is the one that cancel federation. Talk to La République stations. Don't come to an Amba station and be talking. What are you doing? You want to campaign for followers? What is he doing here? Did we stop the federation? That is a message carried to La République, not to us. We don't want to listen to that message.
You see, one thing I just want to say is the federation might not be the best idea, but you can see how arrogant these individuals are. You can see it in their tone, their face, everything. Very, very arrogant, backward, and primitive individuals. And maybe they have some doctorate, some PhD. So you sit and listen to them and you think this individual knows something. How many businesses do you know in your community that has been started and run by these intellectuals? These people with degrees that you are benefiting from. This is the questions we have to start asking them when they go to those schools and come back. Because it's like you go to the school, come back, you become a liability to the community. You become a burden to the community. Because you know how to speak well, but you don't know how to do anything. And so you become a burden because you come up with an idea and articulate it so good and people will think it makes sense and you will mislead everyone. We have to start questioning these individuals. You came back with a PhD. What company can you establish with that PhD that will benefit the community? Right? Yes. If not, just keep that idea on the side. We don't want to hear it because it's going to mislead us. They're very arrogant. You can see it. You can hear them like disrespectful individuals. They will label you just to make sure that they crucify you. And they've killed a lot of people like this. And the first thing is to just demonize you and say, oh, you're from the enemy. Oh, your enemy sent you. That is what they say. It's very myopic strategy, but it has worked somehow because of the people that they're working with. If they label you an enemy, are you not an enemy? You are an enemy. Go kill the enemy. You destroy the enemy. The first thing, label the individual, and then you can be able to release an attack on that individual. Okay.
I said the waters of independence fighting and federation, they are flowing in the same channel. The two waters never mix. We have a direction. If all what he's saying was before the war, I can understand his position, try. But now that circumstance has pushed us in a war, we don't turn back. We are in this war for better or for worse. It took some people 21 years, 22 years, 19 years. We are still 8 years and we've done quite a lot.
You get what I'm saying? Yes, they say it took some 21 years, 19 years. So they are measuring that time frame. And they were told by Cho Ayaba that they have 15 years to make progress. If not, they will whip. So they are under pressure. It's about them. It's not about you. We should be talking about the next generation. They are really worried about themselves. You can hear it. You can just be blind or keep a deaf ear. You can hear their motivations in their words. It's about them, what they can get. Because the choices that they made, the kind of degree that they went for, right, did not help them to have the kind of life that they want. And you can feel that creeping in even in the struggle. So the motivations and the agenda, you can see it. It's right before you. Again, this is time for you to go back to that nation. If you are not on exile yet, it's time for you to start building. Because we have a plan to integrate even those who are on exile. There'll be a way, if you want to change and be a force of good, and stop deluding yourself and stop lying to yourself and stop telling the stories to yourself and believing the stories, then Cameroon has a place for you. Most of the Anglophones have never been conditioned to integrate and work together in that nation. You see, I'll keep repeating Bamenda. It works because of the collective effort of everyone in Northwest. That is why Mancon Bamenda works. Imagine what our nation would look like if we integrated at the level of the nation. You're fighting about the Anglo-Saxon, the same people you are blaming for subjugating you, colonizing you, sold you. You're fighting to preserve their legacy, because that's really what you're fighting to preserve, and you call it your place. Because when the Germans came, they split you up. One part went to France and one went to England. And so what you are really talking about is the legacy of a colonial master you detest. Today, Nigeria has a very good relationship with the UK, right? Nigeria has a good relationship with the UK and is their colonial master. America has a good relationship with the UK and is their colonial master. We are the only ones that we have real issues with our colonial master. I think we should make friends with them. There's a lot to learn from them. Yeah, there's a lot for you to learn, because the language you're speaking comes from them. The system, the common law system you're trying to preserve comes from them. Everything that you hold so strong on, like you want to preserve it, came from them. And somehow you delude yourself and thought it's yours. No, it's not. Every time you think that maybe this is something you created, even the idea Ambazonia was Gojin Dinka's idea. Is not your idea. You guys have no vision for your own life or for the nation. That's why you talk about Eritrea, Sudan. All of a sudden we say Eritrea, Sudan, they are broke and backward nation. Eritrea with a GDP of about $2 billion US, and it's a GDP per capita in that nation is about approximately $600. When we say this and we bring out the facts, we debunk your vision, debunk your idea, because the first thing for every leader, the first thing is the vision. Where are you going to? Moses, before he started, he said, I'm taking you to a promised land. And he showed them what that land looks like. And when they went there, they saw it exactly what it looked like, right? You guys have no clue. How can you say you want to take your people to a better place? And the examples that are coming out of your mouth is Eritrea and South Sudan. Not even the Norway or the UK, the nations where you find yourself. This is the first step towards learning how to lead people. Inspire them to a place better than where they find themselves. And let your examples reflect that place. That's how you sell a vision. That is why only dumb people will follow this idea. People who have lost their minds, or maybe you've probably held them hostage, or you threatened them to contribute to your cause, or they followed blindly in the beginning. Anyone that is reasoning now will not give a franc towards this cause, and let it die its natural death. You understand what I'm saying? Where are you taking us to? Right? You can't even answer that question. Where are you taking? I've answered some of your questions, so you guys take the time. Answer my question. Where are you taking us to? And have you been there? How would that look like in the next 10 years? That place you claim to take us to. How will you take us there? When? And when you take us there, what are the plans? We don't want some lofty words that you throw in the air in the name of vision like this. Or you sell the oil. When you sell it and it's gone, then what next? Some of you talk about a corporate social responsibility. I mean, like, what are you talking about? Even in Nigeria today, the Shell still have the crisis in Nigeria, and they treated the people in Nigeria poorly. And it's a federated system. All this federation, what proof do you have that the federal system is so supreme that you think there's a solution to your problems in the federal system? It's resources, it's oil, that's your motivation. I mean, even the UK, Anglophones, pay attention to this. The UK that they are citing has a unitary system. France has a unitary system. UK has a unitary system, not a federal system. America has a federal system, but the country that they got their motivation from, that they got their language from, that they got the common law system from, UK is a unitary nation. They practice a unitary system. Did you know that? Maybe you didn't. These are facts. You have to put them on the table. Do your own research. Read for yourself. UK practices a unitary system of government. They've never said that to you because they don't want you to know this. Let's just stay on our own corner. It's federalism. I mean, what proof do you have that federalism is the best system that will eliminate every problem that we have? What proof do you have?
Around efforts on the ground by the ADF, AGOVC to intimidate taxi drivers and car owners to change their colors, grant standing for what they absolutely have no control over. This week, an alarming event unfolded in the streets of Bamenda as hoodlums, I will call, claiming allegiance to the Ambazonian Defense Forces, took to the streets, spraying bullets at taxis in a barbaric attempt to enforce a change in taxi color from the universal yellow to white and blue. This reckless and brutish exercise resulted in numerous injuries and the destruction of many taxis, some of which may never be operational again. This blatant act of violence and chaos is unequivocally condemned by all Ambazonians who stand for justice, peace, and a genuine fight for our independence. The actions of the ADF this week are not just inexcusable. They are a direct affront to the values and aspirations of the Ambazonian struggle. While some of our fighters are making noble sacrifices and adhering to the principles of our cause, the ADF recent conduct threatens to tarnish the reputation of all freedom fighters. It is imperative that those within our ranks who truly fight for Ambazonia's liberation step forward to denounce these actions in the strongest of terms. Silence in the face of such atrocities makes one complicit, and at the end of the day, all will be painted with the same brush as collateral perpetrators.
I don't.
Okay, that is very important, right? They said they were united. How can you pass a law that the colors of taxis be changed to the Ambazonian flag? If this is not madness, if you don't think something is mentally wrong with this individual, and then I don't know what you are thinking, right? People are barely struggling to make ends meet. Now you want them to go get money. I don't know if you're paying for it. It's a law. You see, when you are following individuals like this, people of Bamenda, and I'm saying this particularly to the people of Bamenda, it is time for you to stand up. This man did not grow in Bamenda. He was not raised in Bamenda. This man was not raised in Bamenda. He was raised in the Southwest. And most of these guys were raised in the Southwest. I don't know what autonomy that they have over Bamenda. And I'm standing up to say, let this nonsense stop. Let it stop. Go do that in the FACO, the areas where you say you see oil and you're calculating how you're going to sell that oil and distribute the money. Go there and pass those laws. Not in Bamenda anymore. Bamenda people have become a victim of your ideology. And you claim you want to liberate them. Let it stop. This is not what Anglophones taught us. In his time, there was peace in that community. At least we could have education. We could be able to have food. We could be able to have a lot of things. This is not what we learned. The opportunity you had to go to school provided for you. It's because of that same system. You're able to speak today. I repeat this again because you have the opportunities in life that you have today because of that education that you're depriving other young people from having. Because your life turned out a certain way doesn't mean everybody's life should turn out that same way. The people of Cameroon, this is the way forward. If you listen to this, it will save you and it will save your children. And if you do not listen, good luck. We will still go on and do what we are doing. And we will see you soon. If you decide to get to your senses and realize that these people have no clue about what they're doing and you should not be taking instructions from them. I have a 20 years plan for our nation. And this 20 years plan is to train 3,000 Cameroonians in the 7 industries that are transforming the global economy. The movement we are advocating for is the biggest movement our nation has ever seen for the past 63 to 64 years. Cameroonians who speak French and English are coming together for economic prosperity. And we are training 3,000 Cameroonians in the 7 industries that are transforming the global economy. And that is agriculture, IT, renewable energy, finance, healthcare, the media and entertainment industry, real estate and construction. These industries are our primary focus. Just like South Korea specialized in key industries and transform their economy, we are going to specialize. That is the fastest way to grow a dying economy like ours coming out of war. We are modeling America. This nation is the best nation in the world. And I think if there's anything, we should go for America. China has modeled America for 30 plus years. Their GDP was approximately 300 billion US dollars in 1990. Today, China's GDP is approximately 17 trillion US dollars. They do not speak English. We do speak English, and I think that is a plus. We speak French and we speak English. That means we can be able to penetrate almost every market in Africa with products and services that we will create. We've put money together and funded a war for the past 7 to 8 years with little or zero government support. We can put our money together and invest in our people. Human resource is the greatest resource. Have experts from America come back home, train our people, train them in these industries, have them study resources in these industries from America. They will go on to build great businesses in Cameroon within these 7 industries. And they will employ fellow Cameroonians and they will take our nation out of poverty. This is a 20 years project and this works. Poverty will be a story of the past if we diligently follow this path and keep all these opinions on the side. Yes, all these opinions on the side and follow what works. We can move the GDP of that nation from approximately 45 billion US dollars that it is right now to $1 trillion in the next 20 years. That is my projection. This works. If you want talk, you want grammar, you want all of these individuals turning on their cameras and talking and promising you something that they don't even know how they will achieve, you follow that. If you want to jump on board and make a difference in your lifetime and see it, this is the place where you should be. My number's right there on the screen. Reach out and we'll get you plugged in. We have Cameroonians right here already. We have a university, Nation Builders University. And we are providing great books and great courses for Cameroonians who speak French and English. And we're having weekly meetings where we are discussing these materials, changing our mindsets to suit the global economy so that we can be able to bring about sustainable change in our nation. That is what our organization is all about. The Cameroon Sustainable Development Project. CSDP. You either join or you'll be left behind. This is the path forward for our nation. To transform our nation through the private sector. 90% of the jobs in America is created by the private sector, not the government. And that is exactly what we plan to do in Cameroon. Everybody is looking towards government and politics and resources. Now it's time for us to look towards the economy and hard work. This is a tough one, but this will last. The government cannot take this away from you, right? If you guys collectively do this in the next 20 years, we won't suffer again forever. Accompanying this is the launch of this project that we have coming up. On July 17 to July 21, 2025, we are launching this project in Cameroon. On July 17, we're going to have the event kickoff at Fumban, and then subsequently in Douala, the economic capital. This event is going to be one in a lifetime. And it marks the turning point of our nation's history and the path forward. No resource talk, no government talk. It is a people talk. We believe great people make a great nation. And we want to go on to demonstrate that we can develop people. And those people will go on to make a difference in their nation. Not through government or resource. The Facebook app was not created through resource. It was not created through government. Amazon was not created through resource or through government. Individuals with their creativity made a difference in this nation. The YouTube you're on was not created by the United States government, but by individuals. And that is the energy and that is the plan that we intend to initiate to bring about transformation. This system is called specialized modeling. We are specializing in 7 key industries and we are modeling America to get this dream become a reality. With this, we cannot fail. We can only fail if America goes down. And from what I'm seeing, America is not going down in the next 20 years. China has copied America, like really copied America, and came out of poverty. We can fold our arms and watch and keep talking and trying to be lazy and looking at resources and blaming the government. This will take us nowhere. I've looked at this case upside down. I've looked at it, researched it, read it. There's nothing here to be discussing about. There's no reason why we should come on the table to talk about. There's nothing to talk about if we come sit on the table. What do you want to talk about? They don't even know what they want to talk about. Except they'll say, let's have control over our resources so that we can take the oil, sell it, and distribute the money. That is the story. You want to preserve the legacy of Britain that you criticize? Does it make sense? Is that not ironic? So that is the plan. Join right now or you get left behind, and keep deluding yourself coming online talking about your land, your resources, and the federal system. And we don't need a federal system at this point. I'm very blunt with that because I know where this will lead us to. We have gone through a lot of pain. We don't need to stay by ourselves anymore. We need integration. If it's going to destroy the common law and the English language, let it be so. Yes, it's all coming from the colonial master. Why do you want to preserve it? Right? It's time for us to integrate. The English and French is going to bring a flavor that we will like. It will be our own creation. We'll have our own flavor. We must not go with everyone, right? Yes, I call hotels in Douala. Almost every Francophone there is trying to speak in French, in English. They articulate some words in English. At least the communication was effective in English. But I do not know how to speak French that good because of this indoctrination. So Cameroonians who speak French and speak English are coming together for economic prosperity. July 17 to 21, 2025, a big event in Fumban and in Douala. This is history in the making. You cannot afford to miss. And it's time for you to join, contribute with your talent, your skills, and your finances towards sustainable change, towards creating life and not death, towards buying a computer or providing internet connection for a young child and not buying guns so they go lose their lives. Contribute to what will change and bring prosperity in your community. I hope this message meant something to you. I hope you got some value out of this video. I hope this video made you to think that at least within the community, God is raising a young man that can see the same problem and arrive at a different conclusion, and is presenting a path forward that can help us make progress. I hope you leave this video with this perspective to your family, to your friends, and I encourage you to share this video with someone that you care about. This is how we change our nation. One individual at a time, not one block. I love you guys so much and remain blessed. All right, if you like this video, you're gonna like this other episode, and you can watch it by clicking right here.